Miami Dolphins playing the New York Giants. This game will be in Miami. The Dolphins are a 4-point favorite. And if no one's been paying attention, the Miami Dolphins are hot right now. They're in a 4-game winning streak. They have this matchup against the Giants. I believe they have another Jets matchup coming up. And then they play the Saints that have not looked like the same team with Trevor Siemian in the lineup, albeit they might have Taysom Hill by that point in the season. But those are 3 games that they could easily win. So you're talking about, could Miami be on a 7-game winning streak? In fact, with the remaining schedule, they could win anywhere from 9 to 10 games. And I believe they're only 1 win behind the Chargers in the win column right now. Tua's been playing well. He played very efficient in this last game. He was 27 for 31. Jalen Waddle's starting to heat up. He's caught multiple touchdowns in the last few weeks and really living up to his draft status. They've gotten performances from their defense. Certainly, they've really stepped up. You talk about the Patriots being a good team this year. I think it helps when your quarterback can complete basic fucking passes, because Cam Newton, 5 for 21 with a 5.6 passer rating against this Miami Dolphins defense. They really locked him down. The Giants come into this one. They come off a win. I think the key there is obviously they are 1-0 without Jason Garrett. So clearly we were in the wrong. David Gettleman, Joe Judge, they had it right. It was all Jason Garrett's fault. 1-0 in the Jason Garrett-less era. Played great defense against the Eagles. They had a simple strategy. We're going to make Jalen Hurts throw the ball. And that is not a winning strategy for the Eagles, as Jalen Hurts was under 150 passing yards, 3 interceptions. I think completed less than 50% of his passes. He almost had a Cam Newton-like day, except he got to stay in the game. Have a lot of interesting injuries, though. Adoree Jackson went down in that game. I think they played up just because of Michael Strahan's retirement ceremony. I think that there was a lot of pressure. You fire offensive coordinator, you typically get a team to step up. It's one of those classic NFL motivation type games where the team has some turmoil in the recent week and they just come out and play their best game. You know what? I'm going to defer to you this week, because I realized last week when we were going through all the games, I picked first on all of them. I can't let that strategy abide. So Kyle, I'm going to throw this to you. I'm going to pass that baton.
This is a smart strategy, considering you're still like 3 games back at this point. So this is a smart strategy on your part. The New York Giants Eagles game, I would like to propose another alternative, that it was just bad football. Just all of it was bad football. I read off the drive charts on Take It Easy this week, and it was quite bad. I don't know if you would like to partake in this, but good Lord, that game was just terrible. But the Giants did win while scoring 13 points. So credit to them on that one. I will say the fact we have to consider the Giants in the mix still is making me a little bit sad. But all of that to say, this game is all about the Miami Dolphins. It is the Dolphins through and through. They've been the great surprise here of the last, 4 weeks now? I guess they had a bye week before that. So 4 weeks.
They were 1-7 for context's sake.
Yeah, they were not good. And now they've won games. Tua's looked pretty good. Like last week, he game managed his way through it, but was 22 for 26, which is really, really good. And the Miami Dolphins have found at least a wide receiver one that, like, at least the shape of a wide receiver one in Jalen Waddle, which is a victory. They're still trotting out Gaskin. Gesicki is still their leading receiver this year, which is hilarious to me. Miami has been pretty good so far. And is Miami going to make the playoffs? No, but Miami is exactly who they should be, and that is the team they've been for the last, 13 years? Here is, in no particular order, the records of the Miami Dolphins over the last 13 years. 10-6, 10-6, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, 6-10, 6-10, and 5-11 season that netted them Tua Tagovailoa.
Can I just say, how is it that Jeff Fisher was never hired as head coach at one point for the Miami Dolphins? It would almost fit too perfectly, right?
Jeff Fisher's 8-8. The Miami Dolphins have hung around 6-10 for about 6-10 and 7-9 for good 15 years now. They haven't won a playoff game since 2000. They've been on the long line of just terrible AFC football that has to exist in order for the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Broncos, the Ravens to win all of the championships for 20 years. You got to have some bad teams there. And the Miami Dolphins certainly qualify as one of those, because they have not won a playoff game since the year Tom Brady was drafted. All of that to say, The Miami Dolphins are going to win this week against the New York Giants. They're going to get to 6-7. We can finally stop the fire Brian Flores train, because it's just kind of idiotic that people were trying to fire Brian Flores early on in the season.
Hey,
considering
1-7. I mean, you lost to the Jaguars. It was looking pretty ugly there at one point.
This is true, but if you fire Brian Flores, who are you going to hire that's better than Brian Flores?
Hey, I gave you the name, Jeff Fisher, man. Come on.
Jeff Fisher's busy. He's going to go coach the University of Tennessee in the next few years, because Josh Heupel's going to go to Oklahoma coming up right now. So anyways, yeah, Jeff Fisher down in Miami. Let's do that instead of Brian Flores. Yes, I'm glad that Brian Flores is still going to be employed with the Dolphins, because he's done a great job in not being awful with the Dolphins. Dolphins fans have obviously been talking about moving on from Tua Tagovailoa ever since they drafted him. It's always been the stepping stone there. Dolphins fans do love Tua, but they kind of recognize, and this is something I talked about earlier this week, is that if we take Tua Tagovailoa for what he's not, it's going to be a little easier to figure out what he is, because he's played like a full season's worth of games now. It's hard to pin down exactly what Tua Tagovailoa is as a quarterback. He seems to be quite accurate at times and also has interception problems. So he's a game built on accuracy, but he's not as accurate as his counterparts who are starters in the NFL, which sets him up to be like Teddy Bridgewater or Jameis Winston on the Saints, or someone who just kind of gets you by as a quarterback. And then he has great games like the one he had last week against the Panthers, albeit the Panthers aren't the greatest defense in the world, but they have a pretty good passing defense this year. And he completes a lot of passes, and we've seen moments here and there from Tua. The numbers suggest that he's at least a slightly below average quarterback in the starting quarterback in the NFL. And the Dolphins obviously invested a lot in him. So we don't know exactly what he is, but we kind of know what he isn't at this point. And maybe that helps us better understand what Tua is, because he's probably been the most confusing of the young quarterbacks that have been drafted in the last 3 or so years. Like, we kind of know Kyler Murray, he's really good at football. We kind of know Joe Burrow is going to be, at the very least, a very good quarterback. Justin Herbert, we've seen flashes of him being special. Jalen Hurts, not actually that good. I feel very confident in saying Jalen Hurts, not actually that good of a quarterback.
Yeah.
Tua is the one where I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't know what to do with him.
I think part of the problem is just he's a top 5 quarterback, right? Because you draft someone top 5, you don't want left-handed Sam Bradford. That's exactly kind of
one pick before Justin Herbert.
Exactly. And Justin Herbert, that's a whole other discussion, actually, that I have some interesting cliff notes behind. But Tua's been playing well, and you give him that. You give him that he's been keeping this ship afloat for the Miami Dolphins and their playoff hopes, and they're not dead yet. Obviously, they very much still a playoff spot, even having to come back from 4 games down, or having to come back with a 7-game winning streak like they could, like I said, potentially be on by the end of this. I think they also have their bye week mixed in there. The Dolphins are in a good position. You just hope that this defense could keep up the pressure, keep up the performances that they've been giving them, because their defense was a liability early on in the season. They had a run defense that was comparably bad to the Chargers' run defense early in the season, but they've really tightened that ship. And then you look at this particular game, obviously the Giants offense doesn't scare you. Saquon still is having a rough year. Nate Solder has been an overpaid dud for them that I think Jalen Phillips is just going to abuse this weekend. That's why easy. The Dolphins are a win here too for me. We're aligned here very much in agreement on this pick. We just want to talk about it because we want to give the Dolphins a little bit of shine at this point, because they deserve it. They've been playing well. And there's certain teams that, as we kind of get into the heat of the playoff picture, that we kind of ignore. I don't think we've talked much Lions on this podcast, much Jags in this podcast.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Washington football team on this podcast, but certainly the Dolphins have been one of those most overlooked squads. So I think it was important to kind of give some recognition here, because the last time we did talk about them, like you mentioned, we were talking about the Brian Flores situation. We were talking about Tua. It was pre-trade deadline. So with the conversation of, should the Dolphins move on from Tua or Deshaun Watson was in discussion. They have at least a commitment for him for the rest of the season. And if they can still play a spot, that's just going to present a whole other case of issues for them, in the sense of, well, how do we build out this roster from this point forward? Hey, they've been finally giving Myles Gaskin the rock more, and that's paid off well for them too. So that's been a good change for them. And I think that's why the Dolphins have been succeeding. Run the ball, play efficient, 27 for 31. You can't play more efficient than that. I guess you could go 31 for 31, but that's, a little
It's
bit
good
too
enough.
high of
Yeah,
expectations.
if you can do that, you're doing great. I didn't realize he had 5 extra completions in garbage time. I stopped watching around 22 for 26. So
Yeah,
good on Tua for finishing that game off strong.
he had, I guess it's funny to think about this. He had 4 incompletions while Cam had 5 total completions.
Yeah, no, Cam Newton, it looks like it hurts every time he throws it. Every time Cam Newton throws, it looks like he's in so much pain.